Participate in a conversation with once conservative, now liberal Midwest mastered prepared special education high school teacher and a self-proclaimed devil's advocate, East Coast conservative liberal, baccalaureate prepared registered nurse. These two strangers met, became instant friends, and realized their conversations are candid and epic. So join us weekly, ask us questions, and listen to these profoundly candid friends try to solve the world's problems, one discussion at a time.
Hey. Welcome to another, I would say welcome to another exciting episode of TNT or The New Theory with Monet and Jared, aka TNT with MJ. It's been a while, see?
Yes.
But that being said, I wouldn't normally say that, which I kind of did, but we're kind of wanting to rebrand ourselves a little bit. So that being said, we'd love some suggestions from you. If you can use the acronym TNT, great. If not, what do you recommend? That being said, we know we've been gone a while. I kind of feels like we've ghosted you. And for that, we apologize. And not necessarily to make excuses. There are reasonable explanations. Life in general, yeah, exactly. But just being busy from, Monet, I know you were getting settling down with a new job, and then my workload kind of doubled this year, and so my October was just manic. But all that being said, all that added to not including our familial
predisposition.
Yeah, there you go. I like that better.
Yeah. We're predisposed.
But depression, mental health.
Yes, we're predisposed to seasonal depression, both of us.
Well, to be fair, I'm medicated every day of the year. So,
I'm not. I'm not.
So yeah, I'm actually being treated for depression.
He is being.
Yeah.
I have.
And so maybe. Go ahead, seasonal.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, I have suffered from seasonal depression since I was a teenager, and it happens every fall. Some falls are worse than others. With that being said, we're prone to take our hiatuses around this time for mental clarity, whatever the circumstances are. It's mourning the deaths of loved ones. I mean, it's a lot. And I hate to say this sounds kind of grim, and I don't mean to make anybody feel uncomfortable, but I happen to lose a lot of relatives between the months of September to November. My mother, my father, my brother, my sister, like almost all my relatives have expired between the months of September and November. I lost my stepfather in a winter month in February of 2016. So the fall winter season for me is a time of mourning, but it's also a reflective time. And this is where you have a phenomenal sibling that identifies with and that's go ahead.
No, I realized that you weren't done, so
no I was, and then I was gonna, but then of course my brain is like that ADHD was like wait one more thing, but and what I was gonna say was it's not just that, it's also, it seems like every major event in my life tends to happen around this time of the year anyway, like decisions. So learning who I am, and then once I made once I feel, and those that have also, maybe you can identify when you're in these funks. Once you start realizing, okay, I'm in this funk, I have to do something to get out of it. That's when you also reach out to the hands of love around you, i.e. my brother here.
And yeah, especially those that understand what you're going through.
For sure.
You know, you were talking about losing loved ones, and the month of like late October, within weeks. Now, granted, in real time, if you will, it was like a year or so apart. But you know, I lost my grandmother in October, which happens to be the same month as my mother's birthday. So talk about celebrating life while mourning death, you know. Or you could just look at it as celebrating life twice over, but you know. And then the anniversary of my grandfather's death is just a few weeks after hers. You know, he actually, in his own right, became a statistic, because at the time, or I don't know if this is still true, but at the time I know that couples who have been married 60 plus years and are at that age, like I think they were in their 90s, like early 90s. They usually die. I mean, if one dies, the other one, or I should say, if one, you know what? It's death is death. I'm sorry. We don't have to sugarcoat it. If one dies, and if somebody's offended by that, I'm sorry, but death is death. You know.
It is.
You know, but so when one dies, the other one, the spouse dies within a year
or less
of that of that person.
Yes, it's
of
true.
Their spouse. Whereas my granddad lasted, well, I mean, it was past a year. So in his own right, he became a statistic, but unfortunately, he didn't. Nope.
Sorry, baby. I feel you.
Yeah, no, and what's funny, here's kind of, and I just thought this is just like a little side note. I know that either my mom is listening to this or is watching it, so yeah, right. You know, so for that, I'm sorry, but you know, I'm not going there.
Yeah.
All that to say, yes. Some mornings, you know, in regards to this time of year and being predisposed to depression, or yeah, I'll just leave it there. Sometimes you wake up in a foul mood, you know, even just waking up, just realizing that you got more on your plate than what you realized. In order to, you know, in my case, next week, I get the entire week off. For Thanksgiving week, I get the entire week off.
So this is like hell week.
And so like, exactly, I'm preparing for conferences and meetings that are scheduled the week after my break, so that way I can really just focus on my break and enjoy myself. Right, I'm getting paperwork printed out and getting caught up and getting files caught up this week, so that way I don't have that hanging over my head next week, you know. And with having company coming over on the weekend, by the way, we're recording on a Wednesday night, so having company come over to the weekend for a big college football game, woo pig. I woke up realizing that, oh my gosh, there's more things that I need to do or that need to be done
that are personal, not associated with work.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like,
it has nothing to do with work, because my work is what I have to do. There's no choice there. There's no real control there. You know, I have some autonomy, sure. But when you have legal deadlines, not just deadlines, legal deadlines, that if I go past them, now we're fucked.
Yeah, right.
You know, I mean, there's no other word for it. You done fucked up. Right? Now we got to answer for it. What happened?
Exactly.
And so there's no choice there. I have no control.
That's all right.
But at home, I have that control. And for those that don't know me or aren't watching this or haven't, it's been a while, to be fair. Last time you saw me, I had hair.
Yes.
But now I don't have hair. That's me taking control. That's me that's my healthy way of coping and dealing. So that being said, again, to Monet's point, some of us handled it a little differently than others. And about this time every year, this happens.
He shaves his head off. Well, because that's something he can control. And I mean, and I say this to say we're discussing this form of seasonal depression, mental health in general, is because our objective is for people to become comfortable talking about it. For people to utilize whatever platform they have, telephone, Facebook, Instagram. I mean, whether people think people are being thirsty, then response to that is to call them, to reach out to them and say, hey, what's going on? What's up? I implore anyone that's listening to this to reach out to 6 individuals that you haven't spoken to in 3 months to a year and just say, hey, I'm thinking about you. Are you okay? Or, hey, I missed you. I want to talk to you. And
hey,
it's
been
funny.
A minute. What's going on?
Yeah, right.
How are you doing? How's it been?
Very important. Very important. I'm blessed and fortunate to share a platform with someone whom I love very much and care about. And this is our therapy. Yes, I'm blessed.
Yeah.
So we created our therapy.
Yeah, no doubt. This is our therapy. And so that being said, before we even started recording, we have agreed that whether it's weekly, bi-weekly, and I think that's really about as far as I can take it.
Yeah, we can't get any longer.
We were entertaining the idea of a monthly thing, but I can't.
No, it's too far.
Too
much to talk about.
Yeah, it's too far apart, and it's hard to reconnect, or it's hard for us to connect with each other or have a conversation with each other every week, or just whatever, short of text messages, if it's not agreed upon that, hey, we've committed to this, we've committed to each other that this is what we're going to do.
That's right.
So that being, and so I enjoy the hell out of it, because not only do we get to do this and be real with an audience, but beforehand we get to have the pre-conversation, which allows us to kind of vent through some things, process some things, so that way when we start recording, we can really dive into the meat of whatever it is we're talking about.
Yes.
So, and I know we've kind of explained that a little bit before, but I just felt like at this time it was good to repeat that, and just to emphasize that we've agreed that we're going to do this more often.
Yes. And we're working very hard on getting our branding. We're working very hard on trademarking it and making it so that it's accessible. It's already accessible on platforms, but so that we can reach a larger audience. The reality is, and I hate to be, I'm not like a braggadocious type of person, but our platform is fucking awesome. We are the therapy. We're therapy for people around the world dealing with this thing called race, dealing with understanding who we are, knowing how our implicit bias, which has been used since season 1, episode 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Jared has been
talking about it.
Like, do you know what implicit bias is? Because this is what has been guiding your interactions with the people around you, whether they're people of the same complexion or not, the same socioeconomic status or not. You have implicit bias against everything around you. So how do you navigate that? And
I'm going to point out, I'm going to piggyback on that real quick, and I would apologize for interrupting you, but
no, you're not. We don't know.
But for those that are listening and or watching or whatever and questioning what it is, what do you mean? What are you talking about? I don't have. Let me ask you, how do you feel about the Ahmaud Arbery case?
This is tea, just saying. It's actually water, but I'm gonna sip on that one.
You
Go
know,
ahead.
if you feel any one way about it or the other, you know, ask yourself why. You know, if you're yeah, and then explore that.
And it's not just white people, it's everybody. White, Black,
Yeah.
Hispanic. How do you feel about it? And let's talk about it. Because then that helps broaden your understanding as to, wait, where am I getting this mindset from? Where is this coming from? Was I raised with it? Did I acquire it as I grew? Am I not necessarily racist, but am I ignorant? Oh, because some people don't even know they're ignorant.
Well, here's the irony to that. Here's the irony to that. Ignorant, by definition, is lack of knowledge.
Period.
You know how I know that? I fucking looked it up.
Jared, I have been ignorant. I don't know how many times.
I'm ignorant of so many things. I'm not gonna lie. I'll be the first to admit. Yeah, I don't know that. I'm ignorant of that. Sure.
Yeah, me too.
And then I'm gonna go and educate myself on.
Thank you.
So that way I can get that knowledge. So no longer am I ignorant.
Period.
I'm just saying. Yeah.
This is how we learn. Let's talk about it. People are like, well, what do I talk about?
I'm sorry. Real quick. When I say do my own research, I'm vetting my websites. Yeah. I'm not looking at the first.com. I'm not looking at the next or third or fourth or fifth, whatever, umpteenth.com. I'm looking for the .orgs. I'm looking for the .edus. I'm looking for the .govs. I'm looking for the maybe .nets. That's iffy depending on the source, but no, I'm not going to Wikipedia. I'm not going to the first thing that Google pops up when I do a Google search. That's not what I'm doing. So when I say that I'm looking my own shit up, I'm going to what are actually trustworthy websites because I know how to do my research.
And then
that's what comes with an education. I'm sorry.
Yes. Then you talk to people that have experienced that. Can I just let the audience know we are speaking to a man from Arkansas? Just saying, highly educated, enlightened Southern man. Don't sit here and think all Southern people are unintelligent or ignorant. You're sitting here looking at one. He's extremely intelligent. And it takes a real man to sit here and say, you know what? I didn't know something and I had to look it up. That's a real man because I had to figure it out and fix it. So look, one of the things we do on our podcast is we talk about current affairs. Obviously, mental health is huge. And we were always talking about mental health from one perspective or another. But Jared, who is the guru on current affairs.
Well, between the two of us anyway, let's be honest. Let's be fair.
No, I piggyback on the shit I'm like, let me read this article real quick. Jared's talking about something.
Yeah, in real time.
Yeah. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar said, what?
Wait, what? Yeah, no.
That's the blessing right there. That's right. Send it to
me. Just saying, just between the two of us is, I may be the guru, but I'm not going to proclaim that or claim that. But no. Anyway, go ahead. You were saying.
But no, so I'm saying, he's been keeping me abreast. And sidebar, public, why I mentioned the fact that Jared is from Arkansas because of the negative and stupid implicit bias people have towards Southern people.
Any Southerners, yeah.
Especially
male Southerners, yeah.
Thank you. So there you go. That's an example.
White male Southerners.
That's right. Now, with that being said, he's been keeping me up on the two cases that are happening right now. One of which is Rittenhouse, and the other one is Arbery.
Yeah, it's Arbery's murder trial.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that father-son who chased down Ahmed Arbery in a pickup truck, armed with shotguns. If that's not reminiscent of the good old days, said in quotations, by the way, for the listening audience. Yeah. Claiming self-defense because they were, I don't know, kind of the same bullshit that Rittenhouse is trying to spout, and his defense attorneys are trying to prove that for whatever fucking reason they acted in self-defense.
Of what? An unarmed man? An unarmed black man?
Yeah. And in Rittenhouse's case, they weren't even black. Rosenbaum? Come on.
We know. I
mean, I'm sorry to be,
No, I'm not sorry. It's the truth. It was like a nigger or a Jew. One of the two. We got it. I'm sorry. That's just, it's like, okay, for the ignorant bumpkins, to them, that was just as great. So it's like, what the fuck is wrong with people?
Which is funny that you bring that up, because in the pretrial, I guess, rulings or whatever that they do before the trial begins, well, pretrial, obviously, but I forgot what the official trial. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The judge made the ruling that the prosecution cannot bring up the fact that Rittenhouse is affiliated with the Proud Boys.
Okay, can we go back to public executions? Done. He killed the two people he need to get. Period. We're done.
Yep.
And those fucking assholes that hunted that man down like an animal, they need to be hunted down like animals and taken out too. Y'all sit here, you talk about patriotism and living like the way we should. First of all, the treasonous assholes that attacked our capital, our nation's capital, okay? The same motherfuckers running around here talking about, let's support our veterans that were fucking attacking the foundation for which they live off of.
Mm-hmm.
The cat is coming to harass me. They're all treasonous.
Mm-hmm.
They should be hung like their ancestors would have hung people for treasonous acts. Real shit.
Oh, snap.
No, real shit. You know it.
You're right. Yeah, I do.
Let me tell you something. There's a fine line. People are like, look, there's certain shit that can be let go. Speeding tickets, this, that, and the other. You literally wanted to kill the senators. If the people would have stood their ground, if the senators would have stayed in the auditorium where they were and not escorted out, and the security guards would have let those, what the fuck would they have done? They already tried to kill the guards, gouge a guard's eye out. People had to beg for their lives.
Stomp on,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And y'all thought that was patriotic?
Not to mention that they fucking built a gallows. An actual gallows.
They built gallows that they should have fucking got hung off
and yelling, hang Mike Pence, hang Mike Pence. And you know what? It was on record. Speaking of, side note, and I really don't want to go down this road other than just mentioning it.
Okay.
Or in a recent interview, 45 defended what was said. Didn't have any problem.
What planet do you have to be on? How old do you have to be? A 5-year-old can sit here and tell you what goodness, kindness, and love is. A 5-year-old. What the fuck is wrong with these people? Your convictions are so strong for ignorance, hatred, and bigotry and separatist mentality that you can't see the proverbial forest for the trees. You can't see what wrong is. And you're hushing your mouths. You're shutting your mouths. When these atrocities took place, you need to be standing and saying, hey, no, this is not the country we want to be represented as. People look at us. You don't know the responsibility. If you've never left this country, you don't know the responsibility we hold. They do say, hey, you guys are free, because a lot more of us go free than get hung and tortured and shit like that. And it's like, we're exacerbated because it's like, no, we shouldn't even have, we should have zero torment against people, because this is what our bylaws, you want to sit here and talk about the war between England, we fought for freedom, okay, and how it should have transcended to all Americans. But it's like you want to pick and choose what battles is a qualified battle, but all of them are qualified. And you have to say, I choose the right. I choose the good. I choose the hardest working and support those individuals. I'm sorry, Jared.
No, you're a long time. No, it's all good. No, you're right. Unfortunately, hanging is not an option.
No. Yeah, we
dare I
stopped
say,
that.
unfortunately. I'm sorry.
That was considered barbaric.
Not sorry. Yeah.
I don't know. This should be an exception.
Well, I mean, yeah.
They did.
I mean, a war was fought for that very thing, for the Confederate flag not to walk through or to not to be dragged through the Capitol. You know what I'm saying? Right. I'm just saying. But there's a picture of that happening in 2020 or 2021. Yeah, 2021.
Ancestors are rolling over in their graves for this
exactly. And so, yeah, they'd be like, they deserve the same damn punishment that anybody in our time would have gotten. I get it. Whatever. But no, that's not our judicial system.
No, and we have moved away from them. But there has been
a sentencing.
Yes.
I think it's the first one that I'm aware of. Or among the first ones. The guy who's known as the QAnon shaman, the guy who is famously pictured with the horn helmet, bare-chested, ha ha ha. Anyway, I'll leave it there. I'm here all week. Got sentenced 41 months. 41 months, when the very thing that he was charged for bore a minimum of 51 months, with a maximum of 20 years. But he got almost a year less than what the minimum was.
Privilege. People would have wanted, if he had been a minority, people would have wanted to make an example of him.
Exactly.
But because he's a relatively affluent white man, he uses his affluence to cushion a lifestyle that he has not been accustomed to. At least make it not so bad.
Yeah.
Let's have pity. This is his first offense. No, this is the case in which you make an example of every single one of the treasonous assholes, because all you're telling their children and the next generations is that you're just going to get a slap on the wrist, or it's not going to be so bad. And with good behavior, you can get out in like a year or two less.
Exactly. Unfortunately, that lesson is a little close to home, but I'm not going to go down that road.
And so with that being said, I mean, I understand live and let live, forget, growth, but what they need to do is for every single one of those patriots, those treasonous patriots, they need to go through intensive psychotherapy and do a mandatory race relation course that lasts for 5 years. They're not allowed to get out. They have to understand, and people are like, why race or American history with real race, with real history?
The actual history. Yeah.
With real.
I mean, race. I mean, not even race. You don't even have to make race about it, or make.
No, it's
exactly
about race. No
by
race
any
about it.
but I mean, the facts are the fucking facts.
Exactly. I love when they argue. This country was taken off of, no, you're underhanded, you lied, you were being deceptive. Well, that's part of war. Those are casualties of war. Yeah, but when you did lose, when American majority white did lose, they stole.
Yeah.
And they did not acknowledge that they stole, that they were underhanded when they genuinely lost, when they had to lick their wounds. Oh, but no, they were able to come back. Okay, so in the barbaric sense, okay, because now we are We're in the age of Aquarius. We're an enlightened generation. We are.
Yeah,
We're no longer, this is more powerful than this.
Yeah,
This,
absolutely.
this,
Absolutely.
this is more powerful.
Yeah.
So when you can use this, and they have, because they've convinced and manipulated a society to believe that so many things that we're now realizing is not true.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Jared.
Mm-hmm.
I digress. I have to stop because it's so profound. It's not just, I can't even touch the tip of the iceberg with what I'm about to say. But what I can say is, what you've done is you've taught your perceived adversaries your playbook. You taught us this is how you manipulate people, and this is how you've gotten over for so long. And now we're going to use it against you.
Mm-hmm.
Education. Repeated, constant education. We're going to research and pull out the truth and repeat it until everyone goes, oh, I get it now. Like the Colin Kaepernick. That was the best telling of a minority's perspective in a white world.
Mm.
I could sit here and tell you all day how I have been made to feel my feelings. And people are like, suppress your feelings, get them over. But when I watched it, and he had all the nuances, the facial expressions, the glares he had, because we've all minority. And it's not designed to make decent white folks feel bad. It's designed for the world to go, you see what you're doing? You can't do that. No, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
All of us. We're all made to now go, and well, that's not nice.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, then what do you do with those people? Because they're employed, they're this, they're that. No, they get unemployed, they get shunned, they get pushed and made to go where people like them live in the same environment and don't nobody bother them. They live in their own world. Just let me know. That still stems from the argument of segregation. Let me know you don't like people that look like me. I will not come where you are. My friends, my family. No. I will not entertain. I will not engage. But if you've ever seen me give care to a person, that's something I could never give to you because I will not be around you. If you've ever heard me laugh and joke and play, I cannot engage with you. I cannot, you can't have those worlds. You can only have one. You got to make a choice. If you're part of this world, then you're kind, considerate, thoughtful, and respectful of others. And you love unconditionally of others.
Yeah.
If you have conditions with your love, be gone. Because I don't have, our only condition I have in my love are for ignorance, intentional ignorance, hatefulness.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, don't feel that way. Oh, I can't tell you how many white people told me to feel like that. Don't feel that way, because that's bringing up ugly, and we don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, not too fucking bad. That's all I gotta say to that.
Well,
fucking bad.
But you can't. It's not living my life that way. It's acknowledging it, educating it, and moving on. See, that's what you don't know. You I'm gonna be exposed for being ignorant. No. You're not being exposed. You're just going to be kind and respectful.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you like what? Okay, like it. I don't think country music is racist by any stretch of the imagination. Yeah. I really don't. Unless they're talking about hanging people and shit like that. Then that's where it's wrong.
Yeah, that's true.
Look, for real, me and Jared have had this conversation. It's some rap music. I'm like, please turn that shit off. Just saying. And not just rap, any goddamn thing that's like, that's not good music.
Yeah.
So,
but that's even then the word good is subjective to whoever it is that's listening to it. But I have my preferences, you have yours. I've definitely had my line of what I won't listen to. Outside of that, I'll give it a shot, Yep.
So. All right, good, thanks. I'm not looking for it on the radio, I'll tell you that. But if I heard it and I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. We've got Jared, we can go on and
Yelling
on.
into the mic. I can't, regardless of genre. If you're yelling into the mic or just whatever. Yeah, I can't. Anyway.
We're gonna turn it off.
Yeah. So,
I agree.
Hey,
but it's getting late, my love. How long have we been on?
No, what?
How long have we been on?
We've got we still got a little bit of time. So, I mean, we didn't really kind of delve into some of the specifics. Wanted to a conversation, and this may take more than 5 minutes, but I can edit some of the stuff out. One of the conversations that we've had recently within the past couple of weeks that we've been wanting to talk more about, especially get it on video, I guess, or record it, is a conversation on black hair, specifically female black hair.
Yeah.
So you and I were having a conversation about it, and then you made a Facebook post about it. And so I just kind of want to refresh our memories and kind of get the audience caught up. I'm a white male, so I really don't have an opinion on this matter to that consideration. But
no.
Especially I'm bald, so.
Well, Jared, I don't think anybody should be absolved from a conversation because.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I think it's like, I'm curious, I'm interested, I want to know. So therefore you are a part of this conversation and you are very important. So
right. No, I'm not. Well, yeah. And as you and obviously, and just, I tend to, I'm now of that mentality where I take exception that whiteness is the standard.
Yeah.
Anything attached to it. So when you're telling me to that you glorify black hair regardless of style, I don't know what to do with that, because who am I to take exception to it, for one, and two, that what number one encompasses everything.
Well, I mean,
so you know what I'm saying?
Like, if it's not a part, if you come to me and you're talking about people from Taiwan and they have a certain aesthetic, whether it's clothing or their hair or whatever,
right?
I'm an outsider. I'm looking in and I'm like, oh, you find this interesting. And you say, well, we find this beautiful. And I look at it and I say, okay, well, that's beautiful. That's what beauty is to you. I respect that. And there's nothing wrong with it. And I'm going to exemplify it. Case in point, I remember being a teenager when we were not allowed to call people from Southeast Asia Chinese anymore because they were considered Asian. Mm-hmm. And to respect them as Asian because they all are of different ethnicities, backgrounds, so forth and so on. Ethnicities is good enough, I guess. Mm-hmm. With that being said, that was an education and enlightenment. We didn't know that before. It was like they were just all Chinese. Ooh, ignorant, wrong. But now we learn, we move on. Exactly. When it comes to the systematic design, one of the attributes of women across the world is their aesthetic, hair being one of them.
Right.
No matter what nation, whether you're covering it, because it is supposed to be viewed as a woman's crown, their crowning glory, their beauty, whatever.
Right.
Whether and to hide it because men find this thing very attractive. So therefore, in different cultures, to cover it is to say, you know what, that's only reserved for the man or the individual I'm involved with, including my family. I digress. When the slaves came over and they had these intricacies and differences that can only be achieved with that texture of hair, it was marvelous and marveling. And it was in some respects, demonized. Like, no, we have to demonize it because they find glory in it. They find beauty in it. And if we can dismantle that, if we can take that away from them, then they won't find beauty in it. That's the systematic design and people are like, how do you know? It's written in books and we've got pictures now. If you Google it, African hair styles from centuries ago, which meant it was like a tribal design. It meant you were from this specific tribe. It meant you were from this specific region, whether there were shells in it and this, that, and the other. Okay. And these women's hair were long. They put mud in it. They put clay. They put different colored sands and rhinestones and jewels. And they even made, like, Cleopatra's wig really is a whole bunch of locks, hair. Okay. So that's neither here nor there. With that being said, when that is taken away from a woman they found, then that really tears away at their identity and their self-worth. And even if it can grow, cover it, because we don't want to see it. So when you see the Mamies from the movies back in the early 1900s, they had to have a do-rag or something, a bonnet or something on their head, because they had to always cover their hair. Black women had to always. It was then demonized, like, that hair is ugly. So then you have within our own little microcosm, our own little community of Black women, it's like, your hair is nappy. Oh, girl, your hair is so nappy. Your hair is nappy. You need to relax that curl. You need to sling that curl back. You need to slap that back. Don't wear Afro. So then, when Angela Davis and all them came up with the 60s and the 70s with empowerment and Black love, it's like white Americans need to understand the whole Black love mission didn't stem from white hate. It's like, because the psychology behind Black Americans is a lot of self-degradation, a lot of internal self-hate. And how do you combat that? You only can combat it with love. So it's self-love. Like, when people are like, before it was perceived arrogance to say to yourself, I love myself, I'm a good person. Oh, you're arrogant. But now it's like, now we realize, going back to depression, if you don't tell yourself and invest in yourself and love yourself, you don't dream and you don't support your dreams and so forth and so on, and you fight for who you are, then you're relegated to a life of worthlessness. So, you look at, when I'm telling you, Jared, I keep saying this on this podcast, I never forget being in college, looking around at my classmates like, yo, Black people are depressed. I mean, serious. And then when you talk about identity crisis, going from being called, nigger, this, that, and the other, to Black, African-American, Nubian, this, that, and I mean, like, yo, you talk about identity, like, we are the only sect of people on this planet that know we have African roots, but have no idea where on the diaspora we come from. I mean, West Africa, maybe, Senegal, maybe, South Africa, we don't know, Ethiopia. Oh, wow. Well, we could guess, assume, and look at our phenotypes and shit like that.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is, we don't have a connection, with the exception of, like, yo, I did eat okra. Come to find out, okra is primarily found in West Africa. Oh shit, that probably comes from our ancestry, and it's coming up from slavery. That they held the seeds in their hair and in their clothes. It's like gumbo is reaching out to the West African ancestors, like, yo, this is from y'all. We remembered a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, that's fucked up. That's gone. And we're living relics of, yo, we were robbed, man. And people are like, oh, well, get over it. Nah. Well, our ancestors were fucked too. But at least you knew who the fuck your ancestors were. Now, our culture was...
Yeah, I would question, what do you mean by our ancestors fucked? What are you talking about?
Oh, my Irish ancestors, my Polish
what are you talking
ancestors,
about?
my German ancestors. And I get it. No. I've researched, honey. I've been to Ellis Island 3 times, feeling the soil that your ancestors came on, and understanding and feeling the elation and joy that they left their motherland, and the sadness that the separation, that they had to leave loved ones and try to start anew in this brand new world. and hopes and dreams and love and admiration. I feel it from the white folks. Don't sit here and think just because I'm Black, I only think about Black stories. I told you I live in Philadelphia and I lived in Western Pennsylvania, University of Pittsburgh. I'd be on the 76 looking at all them goddamn trees and seeing how the land goes flat till it starts going in the mountains and thinking that these motherfuckers came over here just with boots on and wagons that they was pulling and said, I'm gonna start a farm right here. I just gotta mow down about 500 trees. God damn. Mm-hmm. Y'all did that shit. That's amazing. And I'm not saying it for joy or to relate to people, white people. I'm saying it because a person did that. A tenacious individual said, I'm going to make the best for my family. I'm going to do what I can. And it may have taken 25 years when they first knocked them first 10 trees down and rooted them and got the roots out the soil so they can start tilling it. But they did it. Mm-hmm. That's amazing. That's an amazing story. It's fucked up what happened to the Native Americans, and I'm not blasé about it. That's a whole nother lifetime of a story.
That's a whole nother conversation, whole nother time.
Hell yeah.
And not to dismiss that by any stretch, by any means.
Because these are stories we're all learning now. This is not something like, oh, I had this in my reservoir from back. But homing it back to Black hair, yes, Black hair stems across the spectrum when it comes. It is like the pinnacle of identifying myself as a woman and saying, I'm okay with what comes out of my hair, my head, because that's the way God made it. And I have to love it no matter what. I remember being taught, I had braids when I went to work one time, and a white man told me nobody's ever going to take you seriously. Out of nowhere, a white man just felt very comfortable in telling me that.
Wow.
Nobody's going to hire you with that thing, them things coming out your head.
Wow.
And I was already working as a cashier in a corporate restaurant. And I was like, where the fuck did that come from? Like, obviously you've had pre-conversations about this white man. I don't know what made you feel, because I was so personable and so nice that I then identified as a Black woman. And to him, it was like, you shattered it. You fucked it up. Mm-hmm. Now you're just a nigger. Mm-hmm. Damn it. Because you're using, your ethnicity is coming out of your head. Damn it.
Yeah.
Why can't you wear it straight? Why can't you just, want to look like Becky?
Or
Becky right? I know
case, why do you feel like you need to, looking like a thug?
Yeah. Oh, a thug. Oh. Pickaninny. Those are the words that need to be learned, man. Yeah. But it takes a lot. And so then you ask yourself, we ask ourselves as a nation, particularly white folks, why do you find these hairstyles in Black people so offensive? Yeah. They're distracting only to you.
Yeah. Why do you feel uncomfortable having a conversation about race?
I had to tell white people.
Or why do you feel uncomfortable when someone says, oh, you said that because I'm Black?
I had to tell, I was always on education mission when I lived in Missouri.
Sorry, I've got a student who tells me that on a regular basis, but he does that joking because he knows he's not going to get a rise out of me.
No.
But any other white teacher he said that to? Yeah.
He threw it out there. The other one's like, I'm gonna fight with you.
But with me, he's like, he knows. I know that he's kidding, and he knows that I know that. Because every now and then I'll throw out, oh man, you're just saying that because I'm a middle-aged white man.
What he said?
Or something like, oh, you're telling that to a middle-aged white man. I don't know what you're talking about, or something like that.
I love it. So, they don't know, Jared. They don't know. Oh my God. I say this. One of the things I wanted to say was I had a conversation with a group of Black and white people. Well, the Black people didn't say nothing because they was like, when they got this. But the white people were like, but yeah, doesn't it take hours for you guys to do your hair? I was like, yeah, just as long as it takes for a white woman to get her hair dyed. They were like, what? I literally had a white man, like a 5-year-old, go to the white woman that was sitting across from me. He's like, does it really take you hours for you to get your hair done? And she just sat there and she's like, yes, it does. He's like, what? Yeah. When you get color in your hair, you got to sit and let it process.
Yeah.
white women be in the hair salon just as long as black women. And I was like, and how much does that hairstyle cost you? She's like, a really good hair coloring takes like a good almost $200, $150. A really good one.
Yeah.
So what are you thinking? Oh, you think that just because black women talk about it and we're such a minority, it's magnified, that you don't hear, oh, you don't know about white women getting extensions? As a matter of fact, they were the ones that kind of invented weaves and wigs. I mean, it was literally across the spectrum, every race and religion. I mean, every culture has designed it. But yeah, white women are not they're less inclined to tell you it's a weave or a wig. Whereas black women are like, girl, my weave, itches, child. That's like, who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
I mean, yes, it's a huge industry. And the beauty is there's diversity in it. The problem is I feel now people are going to give me some flack for this, but there's some white women that are appropriating the culture, but some white women just genuinely like, yo, can I get some braids and not be demonized for it? Because I think they're pretty cool. I mean, look, on the real, I've got white girlfriends and I've got like two of them. One of them that really is like a bona fide sister to me. And she country as fuck. That's the last thing. I don't think she'll ever get braids. But there are white girlfriends that are legitimately girlfriends of mine that I don't feel have like a racist bone in their body and to be like, yo, I just really would like to try that and not feel like, I'm trying to take on somebody else's culture. I mean, and with that, I'm like, people stop being so sensitive with that. Like, it's not that deep, okay? It is just a hairstyle, but then there's some that want to capitalize off of it. Like, I'm so avant-garde. I mean, it's the individual. It's where it's coming from. Okay. If you're doing it just to be cool, like, because I've had white people that just want to be friends with me just for the notoriety of having a black friend. Okay. That's why, and you can tell them as far as you'd be like, yo, you cool, stay over there. Like, you all right.
Yeah.
Stay over there. But then like, I know for a fact that our relationship, I don't even know what your race is, real shit. We talk about it clearly, both mine and yours. But when the podcast is over and there's no recording and it's just us, it is unadulterated, just pure love. And people like, what? Yes, it is. There is such a thing. There is such a thing. That I have no idea. I look at him as if we came out of our parents' loins. That's how real our conversations get. So, and it's like, yeah, but this stays between you and I. You know what I'm saying? We've had,
right, no,
all right, look, I don't know. We ain't going to talk about this.
Just real quick, I want to say, I mean, I'm with you to an extent.
Yeah.
To an extent. I would just encourage those that.
Shut the fuck up! You're lying. Come on.
No. I'm going back to the hair thing. I'm agreeing with everything.
Oh, the hair thing. Okay.
Go back to the hair thing. Sorry.
Here we go. Here's where his blackness comes out.
No.
Go ahead, Jared. What are you going to say? Because I'm all kumbaya. Jared's like, no.
No. I like conflict. No. No, just real quick, going back to the hair thing, and you brought it up, cultural appropriation. I would just encourage that for anybody who wants to try it out or give it a shot or whatever else you think it's attractive, you want to roll with it, whatever. That's not my judgment to make. I would just encourage you to at least look at the history of it.
Yes.
Look at the culture of it, and then come at it from that angle, and not, oh, that's a cool dude, that's a cool whatever, I want to do that because you want to be hip.
Yeah.
Or else,
I get it.
Look, it goes back to the ignorant thing, goes back to the knowledge thing. You don't know where that came from. You don't know unless you know what the significance of that hairstyle or that particular hairstyle or how somebody wears something or what somebody's wearing could be.
For sure.
Plus the why. So,
yeah,
I would just encourage those to just get in the know, man. Knowledge is power, and just, whatever, you get what I'm saying. So
can I say something?
Obviously.
My son, okay, my children are bicultural. They're like, what's that mean? No, their father really is from Africa. So they truly are African American. And I've mentioned this once or twice in the earlier podcast. Since the pandemic, the boys have explored with their hair because we couldn't get to the barber, and mommy's clipper skills is only but so good.
Right.
But one of the byproducts that has happened is my youngest son, he has let his hair grow out, and his hair is virgin, natural. And we've noticed his curl pattern is the most intricate curl pattern I've ever seen in my life. We as African Americans have written off 4C hair as being what is considered the nappiest hair on the planet. Very thick, very strong, and it has now morphed into this. I can open up the center of my son's afro and his coils are singular. Like they're clustered like 3 to 4 hairs in a spiral, but they're like the most perfect. No one has manipulated his hair. No one has done anything. It just literally grows out of his hair in the perfect S coils. I mean, and there's millions of them. And when you open it and you open the middle of his hair and you're like, damn, like it's almost like looking at a constellation of sorts, and it's like you want to, and when you pull it, it looks like a perfect spring, like a perfect coil, and it literally snaps like back to his head, and it's soft and it's beautiful. And so there are times I find my hand just naturally goes to his hair, like that, and then I like kiss it and I nuzzle it, and then there's times where I've spent like half an hour to an hour just individually looking at each coil in total amazement, like it's like a game, like it's a toy or something. I just found, and he's like, Mommy, it feels good when you do that, because I'm like separating.
I was wondering what his perspective would be.
Yeah, he's like, it feels good, but sometimes he's like, get out of my hair. And it's like his hair is a marvel. It is a bona fide marvel. Like I've never seen it. And I had to bring in the fact that his father is from the motherland, because my ancestors are so diluted with Hungarian, Irish, Native American, like it's a hodgepodge, a Heinz 57, so to speak.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That my coils are just, it gets wet, it gets curly, it's confused. But his have found true place, like true individual, and his scalp is beautiful, like the naturalness of his skin. And I'm like, dang, like no dandruff, no nothing. I'm like, there's no confusion, there's no tension, it's just happy. Yeah. And so I never in my life if I would have talked to me 30 years ago, 35 years ago, and be like, hey, nappy hair is very much in when you get older. First of all, when I was a little girl and I left my hair alone, it was down my back. It was in the middle of my back. When I gave birth to William, my hair was like to right here to my arm because I left it alone. Yeah. But trying to manipulate it and encourage it to replicate societal preference, I have almost destroyed my hair. Yeah. And so I actually had a white.
To meet a standard that should not be existent.
Yeah.
Is the whole point of what I've been trying to say.
Sorry.
No. I just let you go, and we finally got to like what it is I was trying to say the whole time in our pre-conversation a couple of weeks ago.
I realize it now. Okay, sorry. Yeah.
And on that note, we are out of time.
Look, I'm blessed. That's why I need to see your ass every week. We need to do this thing. We got a lot of love to share, a lot of education to spread. And we want to be the poster people. We do. We want to help guide this nation into a better world because we got it, boo. We got it. We could teach you. We could talk about it all day, but we'll show you. We show you better than we can tell you.
Amen.
With that being said, love you. Bye.